Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today here with one specific tree that we are going to wire. So the focus is getting all those little stems in this multi-trunk Ficus Bonsai in here and wiring them into a direction. Because as you can see right now, there's one wire attached to two stems in here right away, but we need to work on the rest of these little branches and stems here still. Right now they're just sticking out as they have naturally grown, and that is something we have to also work on a little bit, of course, giving them movement, giving them shape, just to make this constellation a little bit more interesting. So that's what we're going to do today. I have wire prepared here. It's 2.5 millimeters according to the thickness of these trunks. This should be enough to wire them in place. It's the same one that I have also applied here on these two trunks already, so definitely we will be able to do that. Let's take a little look around this tree. As I said, it's a multi-trunk bonsai, so we do have multiple trunks in here we need to work on. And what we are trying to adhere to is the two-trunk principle, so we are trying to wire two trunks together with each other. And of course we try to do this with the ones that are close to each other because it will make it easier. I can see two in the back here, two in the front, so definitely two that we need to wire together, and then we can work a little bit on the branches if we see the need for it. But I would say let's start right away by simply thinking about in which direction we want to take this tree. For example, this one here, it doesn't really make sense to just wire it out because it's in parallel then to the one here in the back. So we might move it a little bit here to the front and a little bit upwards. Also giving this some shape. It already naturally bends slightly to the right here, so we might incorporate that simply by also moving it a bit to the right and just giving it some movement up here. Same we will look then in the back, but let's start with the front here, because that of course is the part of the tree that you will mostly see and most likely will recognize right away if there is some missing movement here. So I'm just trying to estimate the amount of wire we need. I always like to basically form with the wire the shape that we're going to need with those two branches, because that is more or less the amount of wire that we need. And then it just takes some secateurs and cut that off. So we have our piece of wire, and now we of course have to wrap it around those two branches. I will make one movement in here to have it in between those branches. Let's see how far down we can go here. Quite far actually, so I will try to hold it in place on this side first, wrap it around a couple of times here. And of course, the more trunks you have on a tree like this, the more difficult it becomes to wire, because there's just so much stuff in the way that you have to move around all the different branches and trunks. So I'm just loosely wiring this first to give it some hold, and then I actually slightly move it out of the way so I can continue working on this tree here that of course we still need to fixate. I will wrap it around here at the bottom first, and then we make our way across here. Also quite freely up here. As I said, the trunk is not that thick, so we don't need to really wrap it in very close proximity to each other. The gaps can be a bit wider as long as it really is close to the trunk, so there shouldn't be many spaces or a lot of space in between the wire and the trunk. Then it should still adhere to it quite nicely and be able to shape the tree. Here we need to move some growth out of the way. I think here also, otherwise I would trap this little growth here. So let's move around rather from this side. Then again, we have a branch here in the way. And of course, the further up you go on a branch, the further up you go on a trunk, the more branches you normally have. So then again, you also have to be a bit more careful when wrapping around wire. And I think we can do one more loop here. And there we go. So we have attached the wire. Now, of course, we actually need to put it into a place that we think makes sense for this tree. So here, I wouldn't go too crazy on it. It shouldn't look like snakes coming out of a head or something. just giving it some movement, because before it really is just a straight stick in here. So if we move this a little bit, let's see, a little bit down here, just giving it a little bit of a bend so it moves a bit closer here, so separating it a little bit from the trees. This in the back still fills out this area nicely. We might actually bring it a little bit more to the back so it doesn't look like it's overlapping and crossing too much. Opens up the space, but at the same time also fills it quite nicely here, but opens it up here. So I'm happy with that. Then we might even move this one still a little bit further outside, just to give us more space to work on the rest of these trees now. And we move this one, as we said, it already grows a little bit in that direction, but as it is more or less the center branch or the center trunk here, how should we potentially do that? I think if we also move it a little bit to the front, but follow this curve it has in the bottom, and then just bring it slightly back up in the top, just to give it a little bit of shape, maybe even a little bit more. Just a little curve here, nothing too crazy. I wouldn't bend it back, that much is clear, as this is the front we want it to be greeting us when we look at it, so we would rather bring it a little bit forward again. Even for that one here, so they're not at the same level. A little bit forward. I think that opens it up nicely. We still have the back branch here filling in any gap that we would otherwise have. For example, without it, it would look like this. With it, it fills it very, very nicely here. And will continue to grow in here, of course. We have some branches we will take a look at later. We might even shorten them a little bit, but I think for now, those two I'm happy with. So let's turn to the back of the tree, where we still have those two quite thick branches actually, that if we look from the front, they're a bit too in parallel, I would say. So if we look at them also from here, you can see they basically grow both a little bit here, leaning to the left. In general, not a problem, of course, in the back, but I think we can still correct this by not having to take out one, even though we could do that as well, but it might be a bit over the top. Let me think. We could take out this one in general, just take it out, and we have those two branches still here, the one in the back potentially also filling in here to this side in the future. Would clean up this tree a little bit more, or this constellation a little bit more. How many trunks would we have left? And 2, 4, 5, so an uneven number, which would actually, if we follow the principles, even be better, because normally you have uneven numbers in here anyway when it comes to multi-trunk bonsais. So I think that's actually what we're going to do. We're not going to wire this one, but we're going to take out this branch, which will take a beautiful cutting. It's already so thick. I will try to root this in water, definitely. And that could easily make in 1-2 years a nice tree. So as I already have my secateurs here, I think we just go in and really at the base, cut it off. So you can see this is definitely a great cutting we can work with, and quite nice thickness to it. So this will go into water later. Let's see what this changed on this tree, because I think we might have to rearrange that little branch here. Definitely. Right now it's leaning a little bit too much for my liking. And we can actually move it simply a little bit to the back here. Fill this out again. I think that works nice. Now it might go a little bit too close to this one, so we just bring this a little bit forward still, a little bit away from it. Have to be careful that there is not too much crossing, so we also bring that a little bit out still, just opening it up. Also here in the back we simply can focus on this branch really becoming a back branch by also putting it more into the back. And I think this one here we don't really have to wire at the moment. It is growing now nicely, and also in relation to all the other branches. So I think regarding the wiring, I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do is still take out some of the clear faults of this tree, if we find some, For example, here, no, this should still grow nicely. I thought we already have crossing growth here, we don't. Here this branch could cross in the future with this branch, so as I would rather have the outwards one, and this one's starting to become quite a strong leader. We take out this growth here, so let this part in here fill this area. Also up here, a lot of new growth, that is fine. We have some branching out going on here also. And this growth here is a little bit laggy, to be honest, so I'll just shorten it to this lower part here. Then I see some dead branching in the back here we can take out. Also this growth here, not the healthiest, but for now we can leave it on, I think. A lot of growth has started from the bottom here again. Unfortunately, this is from a trunk we took out, so we also take it out here. But there is more growth coming from branches that are actually still part of the design of this tree, so we can continue with them. Let's also look a little bit in the back. We have growth or suckers coming here from the bottom, so we can also take them out. Just roughly cutting them away. They do tend to come again, especially now in spring, because there's of course a lot of energy in the tree, and it's using that to throw out these little suckers that sometimes you just simply have to rip out and keep on top of it, because why should the tree use its energy to focus on those little growth when it should focus it, of course, on the main foliage up here. So we have this very leggy growth here that, I mean, it fills out the area here quite nicely, so I don't want to really take it out. We leave it on. Maybe if it thickens, it will work better with the design. Here, however, the legged branch we can take out. And this one is just growing backwards, so we can also take, or at least shorten it a little bit. For the movement on those branches, I think I'm not going to work with wiring. By pruning them back right now anyway, they will start to ramify and grow in different directions again. So that should bring some movement also into those branches. However, in the future we will need to wire them, of course, also to really get a more detailed design on them. I think for now, it's just a little cleanup now before spring really starts, and a lot of new growth will show that we can do. And as I said, just take out dead branches as we have them here, for example, on this back branch. Some here in the front also, we're coming off from here. So just taking them out, giving the tree a cleaner look. Same here, there's one here. There's also one down here that I can simply rip off. Same here. And we have this growth here that definitely we need to take care, because this will grow inside into the tree, so we don't need that right away. This one here, I'm not sure yet. We might incorporate it in the future to grow a little bit in this direction. So we can leave that little leaf on for now. But yes, I think the shape of the tree looks a little bit less messy now. Also the shape of the trunks, it seems to work a little bit better. And I think it was a good decision to take out that extra branch in the back, or the extra trunk in the back, because it was simply too cluttered, too crowded in here. As with a multi-trunk bonsai or clump style bonsai as this one is, it can get a bit messy right away, especially if you have so many trunks. I mean, 5 in my opinion is already quite a lot. Usually I go for 3 when I do those experiments with trees, putting them together in one pot. But I still think even with 5, this can work out in the future. We just have to keep an eye on it, make sure the tree is in a position where it works together well. I just see now here, this one we can also give a bit more movement, opening it up a little bit, setting it down here a little bit. Just making sure it doesn't mimic the other branch too much. It's a little bit like this. And also, I take it back, we bring out this one again a little bit, but maybe also right in this direction. Even a bit further, I think we can go here. Making this really stand off a little bit. And even go fan it out a little bit here, so it grows outwards in the future. So basically to where we had it, but I think that just looks better on this tree. Okay, but I think for now, this is all we can do on this tree. Of course, I will let it grow now in spring and in summer. Keep pruning it, keep looking at the branch structure more in the future, but I think the trunks themselves we have set up quite nicely for this growth season. If you have any questions about this tree, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you enjoy my channel, of course, feel free to subscribe to it. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.